Bret Michaels has one of the most carefully constructed images in rock history: the bandana, the smile, the fight against diabetes, the charity work, the celebrity apprentice win, the wholesome father of 2 daughters, the man who survived a brain hemorrhage and came back stronger. Every piece of his public persona has been engineered to make you root for him. But behind that image is a trail of people who got caught in his orbit and paid the price. Women who appeared on his reality shows and were never the same. A long-term girlfriend who stood by him for 18 years while he dated dozens of other women on national television. A sex tape that was distributed without consent and destroyed the privacy of his co-star while barely scratching his reputation. This is not the story of Bret Michaels, the rock star. This is the story of the people he left behind. Segment 1. The Sunset Strip and the Service Culture. Before Bret Michaels was a reality TV star, he was the frontman of Poison, a band that went from sleeping on the floor of a dry cleaner in El Segundo to selling 65 million albums worldwide. The backstage culture that came with that rise was not just excessive, it was structural. Documented accounts from roadies, band associates, and fans describe a dynamic that went far beyond standard rock and roll excess. Women who wanted access to the band were expected to perform for it. Insiders called it a service me attitude, a transactional environment where the performers maintained a passive, expectant role, and women were expected to do whatever was required to stay in the orbit. One account describes a high school student recounting how she had to service the crew members just to get on the bus. Not the band, the crew. This was not a secret. It was the system. Segment 2. Every Rose Has Its Thorn, the song that built the mask. In 1988, Poison released Every Rose Has Its Thorn. It became one of the biggest power ballads of the decade, and it gave Bret Michaels a mask. The song was about a real breakup, real heartbreak. The public loved it because it made Michaels look vulnerable. Here was a rock star who was not just partying, he was hurting. He was a real person with real feelings. But insider accounts, including the book Shot of Poison and Michaels' own memoir Roses and Thorns, reveal a sharp contradiction. While the public was identifying with his sensitivity, Michaels was simultaneously living in what insiders described as a wave of overindulgence and a constant competition for women. The heartbreak was real. The behavior that caused the heartbreak never stopped. That contradiction became the operating system of Bret Michaels' entire career, and the people closest to him would spend decades paying for it. Segment 3. The Pamela Anderson tape, who actually paid the price. In the mid-1990s, Bret Michaels and Pamela Anderson were in a relationship. A private video was recorded. It was never intended for public distribution. An internet company called Internet Entertainment Group acquired the tape, reportedly for $16,500, from a friend of Michaels who claimed Michaels had given it to him as a gift. Both Michaels and Anderson denied authorizing distribution. What followed ended very differently for the two people in the video. Michaels registered a copyright, filed for injunctions, and framed the entire scandal as a chapter in his rock star narrative. In his 2010 memoir, he leaned into the notoriety as a selling point. Anderson's experience was the opposite. A court ruled that because she was a public figure, clips of the tape could be broadcast under fair use. Legal scholars later named this the Pamela Anderson exception, a precedent that effectively stripped a woman of her right to sexual privacy because she was famous. Michaels moved on. Anderson spent decades fighting to be seen as more than the subject of a tape she never consented to distribute. Segment 4. Rock of Love, the Architecture of the Con. In 2007, VH1 launched Rock of Love. 25 women compete for the heart of Bret Michaels. The promise was a real relationship with a real rock star.
So when VH1 offered me this opportunity to meet 25 of the most beautiful women in the world, I couldn't refuse.
The reality was something else entirely. Production secrets revealed by former staff show that Michaels never actually lived in the Bel Air mansion with the contestants. His bedroom on the show was part of the television set. Every night after filming, he went to his own private residence. The women stayed in the house. He went home. Before he walked into the house each day, producers would call him and give him the rundown on everything that had happened overnight. The fights, the tears, the alliances. He would arrive on set looking emotionally intuitive and perfectly attuned to the women's feelings. In reality, he was operating on a script. The consequence for the women was an experience contestants later described as borderline subhuman. The most dramatic women got the most screen time. The show rewarded instability. The cameras made Bret look like the hero while the women were edited into the role of the crazy ones. Segment 5. Jess Rickleff, the winner who vanished. Jess Rickleff won Season 1. 23 years old, a hairstylist, and one of the most grounded people in the house. She picked Bret. Bret picked her. The finale made it look like a love story. Then the cameras turned off and Michaels disappeared. By the time the reunion show aired, Rickleff had broken up with him. She said publicly that if it was real, he would have made it work. He did not. After the show, Jess Rickleff did something almost none of the other contestants managed. She vanished completely. Some reports place her in Hawaii, others in Oregon. She made a deliberate decision to erase herself from the world the show had put her in. The prize was a relationship that lasted until the final credits rolled. The only way to survive it was to disappear. Segment 6. Heather Chadwell, the loyalist who got used twice. Heather Chadwell was the runner-up in Season 1. By all accounts, she had genuine, deep feelings for Bret Michaels. She fought for him. She put herself on the line emotionally in a way that was difficult to watch. When he picked Jess Rickleff instead, the cameras captured every second of her heartbreak, but the show was not done with her. Chadwell was brought back in later seasons as a guest, not as a potential partner, but as a prop. The producers turned her genuine pain into a recurring character. Chadwell has rebuilt her life. She works in real estate. She appears on podcasts where she is openly critical of the show's treatment of contestants. She has called the experience borderline subhuman. The fact that she had to spend years clawing her way back from a caricature built out of her real emotions tells you everything about who the show actually served. Segment 7. Daisy de la Hoya, the one who never came back. Daisy was the runner-up of Season 2. Young, emotionally fragile, and visibly in love with Bret Michaels. By the accounts of people who were there, producers knew she was vulnerable. They knew she was genuinely into him, and they took advantage of that to create compelling television. After the show, Daisy got her own spin-off, but by the time it premiered, she was watching it from a rehab facility. The substance issues that had been simmering during filming had taken over. In the years since, her trajectory has been a slow-motion collapse. She has been documented as homeless in San Diego and Los Angeles. She has been seen frequenting public libraries because she has no money and nowhere else to go. She walks the streets with her dog in a stroller. She was the victim of a brutal assault and robbery. Daisy entered Rock of Love as a young woman looking for love. She left it on a path that led to addiction, financial ruin, homelessness, and psychological crisis. And the man who was supposed to be the prize moved on to the next season without looking back. Segment 8. Christy Gibson, 18 years in the shadow. While Bret Michaels was dating 25 women per season on national television, there was someone waiting at home. Christy Gibson, the mother of his 2 daughters. She was in a relationship with him for 18 years. Contestants from the very first season of Rock of Love stated that Michaels admitted he was already in a relationship. Gibson watched the father of her children pursue dozens of other women on camera for 3 seasons, while she maintained the home and raised their daughters. In 2010, after Michaels survived a brain hemorrhage, he proposed to Gibson on the finale of his show, Life as I Know It. The proposal was widely interpreted as a sympathy move, a way to rehabilitate his image after years of on-screen infidelity. By July 2012, they had separated. 18 years, 2 daughters, 3 seasons of public humiliation, a medical crisis, a televised proposal. It ended with what was described as an amicable split. Today, Gibson lives in Arizona. She and Michaels maintain what is described as a great partnership, but partnership is a careful word. It is the word you use when the relationship is over, but the family is not. Segment 9. The Health Card. How Sympathy Rewrites the Story. In 2010, Bret Michaels had an emergency appendectomy, a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, and a warning stroke that revealed a hole in his heart, all in the same year. And all of it happened right as the Rock of Love era was coming to its most controversial close. The timing was coincidental, but the effect was not. The medical crises allowed Michaels to completely reset his public image. Overnight, the conversation shifted from aging rocker exploits young women to brave survivor fights for his life. He channeled the sympathy into a celebrity apprentice win, a charitable foundation, and a brand built entirely around resilience. None of this erases the medical reality, but the pattern is unmistakable. Every time the treatment of women or the exploitative nature of his shows threatens to define him, a health crisis or a charitable act redirects the spotlight. The sympathy card does not just deflect criticism, it makes criticism feel cruel.